Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth. 4 puzzles away from Christmas with 4 calling birds today. And you can see, not only are they, singing really. Look at the one in the middle there, just on the tree. Singing its heart out. Just such passion. Hopefully you enjoyed that little tune as well, trying to emulate the birds. I think I would say somewhat successfully, but I don't know, it was a bit too chirpy for me. Anyway, put all of that aside, time to look at today's puzzle, which is clearly all about 4 calling birds by Willpower once again. And you can immediately recognize the calling birds here. You've got bird 1 with its beak wide open, chirping away, bird 2, bird 3, and bird 4, for whatever reason, facing left unlike the other 2, and in a different color as well. What else do we have? Oh yeah, of course, the black Kropki dots are acting as eyes. So that's another lovely thing to add there, Will, as usual. Rule sets. Now, I think for the last couple of puzzles, I went through the rules fairly quickly, skipped critical information, and somehow made the puzzle far harder than it needs to be for myself and I guess for my solve that's recorded here. So maybe for my sanity today, I will take this through a little bit more slowly and thoroughly and really try and internalize these rules rather than just read the rule and basically not apply it. So, first rule, normal Sudoku rules apply. That's fairly straightforward. Place the digits 1 to 9 in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box without any repeats. We have RENBAN. So 3 bird bodies, numbers on the purple line. So the birds that are facing to the right, we have these purple lines that are RENBAN lines. And the RENBAN lines, what's the exact wording here, are each a set of non-repeating consecutive numbers in any order. So if we imagine that this is a 2, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cell RENBAN line, then I could do something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or the alternative would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I couldn't put an 8 on here because that would look like 3, 4, 5, 6, and then an 8, missing a 7 to make it consecutive, and I've broken the puzzle. We have Dutch whispers, which are the bird beaks. So a number on red lines are at least 4 apart from their neighbors on the line. Now, it stops dead on there. 5s are allowed on today's Dutch whisper lines. So a 2 here would have to have 2 neighboring digits that are 4 or more away. That could be 6, 7, 8, or 9. But the thing to watch out for in today's puzzle is this could be a 9, and this could be a 5, and this could be a 1. And that would allow us to do something that is different from German whispers, where it oscillates from high, low, high, low. In this case, we went high, low, middle, low, and then back to high. We're going to have to watch out for that for sure. What else do we have? We've got entropy line. There's only one of them in one bird body, that odd bird that's staring on the left for some reason and is blue rather than purple. Now, this is an entropy line. Each continuous set of 3 numbers on the blue line contain 1 low digit from 1 to 3, 1 middle digit from 4 to 6, and 1 high digit from 7 to 9. So if we imagine that this is a 2, we know that these 2 are not going to be low digits. One of them is going to be high, like 7, 8, 9. One of them is going to be middle, like 4, 5, 6. And then we're allowed to go back to low digits. No, to actually high digits, because it's going high, low, middle. That would be high, and this will be low, which will be 1 and 3. And maybe the way to sort of avoid mixing things up is try and color them almost like high being red, blue being low, yellow being middle, and making sure that this pattern, red, blue, yellow, red, blue, and then it would be yellow if there's another cell on this line, to make sure that you don't lose track of the entropy on this line. Obviously, the examples I've just gave here are entirely fictitious. I've just made them up. I have no idea what the actual digits are. So it could easily be, well, I mean, that's, sorry, I'm not going to start solving. That could be low, that could be middle, that could be high. We don't actually know what they are. Right, what else do we know? Oh, numbers do not repeat on the red or blue lines. That's a useful piece of information. So these digits, and obviously on RENBANs, they don't repeat. So none of these repeats. In fact, all the lines basically do not repeat. So that is useful information, I'm sure, that we're going to have to just use at some point. And it may allow us to exclude some options and solve this a little bit more easily. We also have killers and Kropki. Let's just again read through them in case there is a slight twist to the normal variant. Killer cages, so number in cages sum to the number in the top left corner of the cage, whilst Will is not clarifying that the numbers have to be unique. The fact that they're always either in the same row or the same column, or the same box, but it doesn't matter, they're always either row or column, is very clearly telling us that they are always unique. So if we take a look at this cage, which is outlined with this dashed line, and it's meant to be reading an 8 as a sum, then one option could be, if this was a 2, is that would be a 6 to make sure that it adds up to 8. So something to look out for sure to make sure that we are actually solving this correctly. If that was a 2, for example, and I put a 5 in here, I've broken the puzzle because they're summing up to 7, not 8, which is what's requested by the cage. Last but not least, we have Kropki pairs, and today it's only black dots. Number with a black dot between them are in a ratio of 2 to 1. That was a 2, that could be literally 1, 2 to 1, or that 2 could also be a 4 as long as 1 is a multiple of the other, as in 2 times, doubling the other, then you are satisfying the 2 to 1 ratio requirement. Not all possible dots are given, so 2 and 4 here would be absolutely fine. It doesn't require a black dot between them. Well, that's a careful read of the rules today. Largely normal variant. The fact that they are unique digits, I'm sure I'm going to forget about it as part of the solve. And I'm sure some of you are going to shout at the screen to tell me, Sleuth, pay attention to the rules that you just took us through. But if you want to have a go yourself and try and see why that bluebird is facing left and changing its colors, link will be in the description down below as usual for you to play along. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So, tons to look at here. Now, something that I'm noticing is all the cages are either 15 or 8. And it feels significant. Now, 15 in particular feels, actually the 8 also looks significant, and I'll explain why in a moment, but the 15 is quite significant and catches my attention because there's only 2 ways of making a 15 cage. This could be a 6-9 cage to add up to 15, or it's a 7-8 cage to add up to 15. There's no other way of solving it. And what I'm tempted to do is to actually just quickly color these. That's a bad color. I'm going to go with orange and red. Hopefully they are distinguishable. But what I'm essentially, because this orange can see this cell, we know that this 15 is not orange, it's going to be whatever this is. And again, we can sort of repeat the logic. That's clearly got to be orange because I've got 2 reds looking at it. That's got to be red because I've already placed 2 oranges in the box, etc., etc. I'm just going to go around and color as many of these as I quickly can. I say that and then I immediately ran out of steam because that certainly can be red or orange. We know we have 1 of each in here, but we don't know which is which. 1 minute and a half, I can place a digit. This is a 4. So that's what I meant by the 8 is actually also significant. And let me explain my rationale here. So, there's actually loads I want to say actually. Let me just focus on the 4 first. So we know that a 4 can't be in a 15 cage. That would require an 11 neighbor. And a 4 can never be in a 2-cell 8 cage because that would require another 4 to add up to 8. So where does 4 go in column 5? Well, it's not in these cages, and it's not in the 15s. It can only be in here. We've got a digit. What I'm also noticing is these two cells, in fact, thinking about the 8s. In two cells, 8 can only be done in one of three ways. 1, 7, 2, 6, and of course, 3, 5. I say of course, but what it doesn't allow me to do is have 8 and 0, and it doesn't allow me to do 9 and -1. So these are not there. The 8 and 9 have to be down here in column 5, because they're clearly not in any of the 8 cages. That's on a black crop key dot. That gives me 8, 7, 4, whole bunch of digits all of a sudden, and 6. And now we're left with 1, 3, 5 that for a change I will actually fully write out, because I want to understand what my options are in the 8 cage as well as on this entropy line that we'll come back to momentarily. It's a shame I don't know these colors, because then, and I may want to think about using letters to resolve these in a moment, and I may go down that route, just keeping my options open. Entropy lines. Well, 7, 8 are staring at this 15. We know that this is now a 6, 9 setup. And what I'm noticing now, and I really have run out of colors, is these are the high digits. Ignore the oranges and reds for a second. These are the high digits on here. I'm only allowed 1, 5. So whatever this cell is, it's the same entropy. So they're either both from 4, 5, and 6, which they clearly aren't, or they are both low digits. So these are my 1, 3s. That's got to be my middle digit. So it can go high, low, middle, high, low again. It's amazing when your example ends up working. I did say 1, 3, 5, didn't I? I meant to add a 2. Logic still applies though. That is definitely the 5. Because 1, 2, and 3 are low. There's only one middle digit. It couldn't be in the two cells that require it. So I am going to lose these colors though before I confuse myself. And this, therefore, to make sure that this adds up to an 8, that's got to be a 3. And we have quite the start now. So where do I want to go next is the question. And I'll be honest with you, I am so tempted to go down and try and put some letters in here to try and figure out what these are. Because clearly one of them is 7, 8, one of them is 6, 9, but how do I go about proving which is which? Is an interesting question. I admit though, I am noticing another interesting question that may be actually easier to prove with letters, but might not be needed. Take a look at these Dutch whisper lines. So if you remember, I said something earlier about you have to watch out for 159s. Aside from the 159, otherwise you're going to have that standard pattern of it's oscillating from low digits to high digits, which is actually extremely tricky in box 6, because I've placed all the high digits and I still need 3 cells that can only be low or 5, mind you. Now, I know that this is a low digit because I don't have 1, 9 surrounding the 5 here. I've got 2 high digits. So this is low. I am going to use colors. It is 1, 2, or 4. And then this has to be 1 and 5, I'm going to say. And let me just explain that a bit more and a bit more carefully. I can't put any more high digits in box 6 because I've already used all of them. So essentially, either this is a 9 with a 5 and a 1, or I'm hiding the 5 in this cell with a 1 in here, and then I have my kind of world is my oyster, so to speak, with 6, 7, 8, 9. But I definitely have a 1, 5 pair in here, and that's not a 1. It's a real shame that right now I can't figure out how do I disambiguate this, because the fact that the 5 can be here with a 1, and then therefore I can have 6, 7, or 8, it would have been really helpful if I can figure out that this is the 5 and this is the 1, because that would immediately place a 9, that would be a 6, and I know all the oranges are 6s and 9s, all the reds are 7s and 8s. So we're not quite out of the woods yet. We really do need to sort that one out. But that's progress. We have 1 and 5, 2 and 4. What is this cell? It is clearly not 3. I need 3 in this box somewhere. That's the 3. That's another 2, 4. The 2 could go with a 1. 4 is not available. The 4 could be with actually either 2 or 8. Another digit though, another victory. Now, these RENBANs, are they all consistently 6 cells? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, this is a 7-cell RENBAN. 3, 6, 7. And this one, I remember, is 6 cells. Yeah. So, on all of them, we need to place the digits 4, 5, and 6. And notice where I say the 4, 5, 6. I mean, let me just explain that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need 6 contiguous digits in one of them. At least I need 7. But if you pick any 6, even the extremities from this number line, you're always going to choose 4, 5, and 6. So if I went with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6 is selected. And if I go with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6 is selected. There's even probably more digits with 7. Yeah, so I would have to have 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on a 7-cell RENBAN. And then it's a question of whether it's 1, 2, or 8, 9, or 2, 8. But where I was going with this is I need a 4 on this purple line. And the 4 is not here. And because of this 4, the 4 is not there. One of these, for sure, is a 4. I really don't want a corner pencil mark, but I will. One of these is a 5, and one of these is a 6. The thing is, the fact that if this is 5, it's basically done. If that's 1, well, that's not 5, and that wouldn't be 5. That's the 5. So in a very weird way, there's another, one of these is a 5. Either this 1, 5 is a 5 and you're resolved, or if this is 1, well, because of this 5, it sees this cell, it sees this cell, it sees this cell, this has to be the 5. And I'm really not sure about this pencil marking that I'm doing, but I'm sticking with it. Because we have a 3, we already resolved the 4, then the 5. Last option, or last thing that we need to think about is the 6, and it's in neither of these cells, but it could be in any of these 3, which is more than I'm willing to pencil mark at this point. Premature to think about 4s, etc. in this RENBAN. I mean, we'll have to get to it. But I did say this RENBAN needs to have all of the digits from 3 to 7. And we've only got 3. Okay, let's park it for now. Let's try and make some progress about which is the 7, 8 and which is the 8, 9. And I did say I will use letters. So let's go A, B, C, D, C, D. And I'm just picking at random. I don't know yet which ones are which. Did I pencil mark that correctly? I think I did. Sorry, bear with me a moment. There's somebody at the door. I'll be right back. Right, I'm back. I'm wondering if the same issue exists with this line. Let's think about it. So these are definitely up here. The other digit that the other letter that I need to place, not digit, is A. In box 3. So I think we probably need another kind of 1-5 thing going on here. Because if I go with the normal logic of low, high, this would have to be the A. Low, high, I've ran out of high digits at this point because I've already placed A, B, and C, and D has to be up here. So I definitely need a 159 run. And I may need to pause recording, by the way, and grab lunch. I'll just see if I can finish this thought because it's clearly going to be tough to come back to it and then pause my recording. So bear with me. So there's definitely a 5 on this Dutch whisper line. Can I find where that 5 is again? If that was the 9, that would be the 5, that would be the 1, and then I'd have to place a high digit in here, and it doesn't work because I've already used all of them. So clearly this is not the 5, and therefore this is a low digit, which is from 1, 2, 3, or 4. This, therefore, has to be a high digit, and it's not D, it is A, which is orange. I don't know if I'm going to persist with the colors, but humor me for the moment. Now, I think I have essentially another 1-5 pair in here. Sorry, no C. Because essentially either this is the 9, and that's the 5, and that's the 1, and that's the D, or this is the 1, this is the 5, and that's the 9. But in any scenario, this is D again, this is not D, and excuse me, that wasn't what I intended to do, and this is not 1. These are 2, 3, 4s, and that's D, wherever D is. This is quite the puzzle, Will. Quite the puzzle. Clearly figuring out which is 6 9s and 7 8s will be immensely helpful, because then I can start to really think through all of this. We've got 2, 3, 4s. I definitely have a 1 down here. Oh, I don't necessarily, if that's assuming that's a 5, but I don't know. That's the answer. Does it break the RENBAN? If that's 5, let's think this through. If I put a 5 down here, that's not the 5. That has to be the 5. That would be the 5. That would be the 1. That would be the 1. That actually works. So no, it doesn't really. I'm guessing the reverse also works. So I'm not really sure I'm any wiser. A 2-4 pair. This was never a 2. So either 2, 1 or 4, 8. This is kind of interesting. You see, this cell is not a high digit. It is a low digit or 5. So it's 1 or 5 because we've placed all the high digits. And we placed 2, 3, and 4. So this is surprisingly restricted. And this is also surprisingly restricted. All the high digits are visible, 1 and 5 and 4. This is 2 or 3. I don't mean to sort of go around randomly picking cells. It's just I'm trying to think through options in these 2 rows. I'm just surprised how narrow the options are. Essentially, I have an AB somewhere on here, essentially the second AB, this cell, somewhere on here with a 2 or 3. Easier question, where is 3 in this row? It's not these 2 cells, that's the 3. And this is now a 2 AB with a definite 2, well, it's a definite AB anyway, whatever this cell is. Right, I am going to pause here. I will grab a quick meal. I imagine I will be thinking smarter by the time I come back. So hold that thought. I'll pause. See you in a bit. Right, I'm back, hopefully with a bit more energy to figure things out here. Right, this is not a 3. Got a 2-4 pair. We have a 1-5 and an A down here. 1-5 and A and a C. So A and C is down here. I mean, I'm kind of starting to feel like this has run its course at this point. Let's have a think. Because I think this puzzle is going to get substantially easier the second I can figure out which one of these is the 9. Which one is 6-9 and which one is 7-8. So maybe the right thing to do here is to basically focus on that a little bit, rather than just keep going down this route, I think. So one of AD is 9, depending on which one of these is 5. That part is certain. And over here, it could be that it's A with the 5 here and that's the 1. But unfortunately, if it's a 5 in this spot, it puts no pressure on this at all. How else can I figure out what is 6-9? Feels like it may be worthwhile just pressure testing it with something. Let's think about where, so B is, I've got D, A, and C. And I have 7 and 8 and 6 and 9 all staring down here. And it feels like I should be using these somehow to draw some conclusions on what it may be. We've got at least 6, 7, and 8 in here. I need... So on here, this is a 7-cell RENBAN. Got at least 6, 7, and 8, and a 3. I need 4 and 5, which are not in this cell. Not in any of these cells. These have to be 4 and 5. I think that's a reasonably solid conclusion. And because of the 1-5 marking and the 4 here, I actually know what they are. That's 5, that's 4. This 2 would have to join a 1 again, similar to this 2 with a 1. This 4, it could be a 2. Can also be an 8 still. I'm still sort of messing around with that. This is not an A. Sorry, the fact that I'm using letters means that I'm constantly mistyping things as well. And we know that these are from 1, 7 and 2, 6. It may be worthwhile just tidying it up a little bit. How can I go about doing that? That's not 1, that's not 7. Do I really have all of these options in here? It feels unlikely. We've got 3 high digits looking at this cell. Doesn't have to be all the high digits though. So I could still have a high digit over here. And I can obviously still have a low digit in this black crop key. There's something that should be far simpler than what I'm doing that I'm just missing. Such as... Right, let's think through possibilities for a second. This is definitely not 1. The reason I say that with confidence is, on this RENBAN, if I put a 1, where is 2 going? So because this is not 1, this is not 7, this is now a 2-6 pair. Clearing this up for sure, that's now 1 and 7. Meaning that's not 2. And I have a 1-8 pair and a 2-4 pair in these columns. 1-8 will clear a lot of things up, I imagine. That's Now no longer a 1, that's a 2, 3, which I think forces this to be the B, doesn't it? And essentially, what is this now? I think this is now forcing something. Because we've got, you see, oh, hang on, no, we've got 1 and 8. We've got all the high digits, actually. We've got 1, 8. Yeah, this is 5. This is just a simple 5. Got 1 and 8, A and B, and 7. So in fact, A and B must be 6, 9. Yeah. This is it. And the fact that we know that this is the 9 now, because it's from A and B, because remember, either A or D was the 5, forces everything. Goodness me. There must have been an easier path than what I've just done. So that's 9, that's 6, that's 9. I don't actually know which one of these is the 6, 9, but I know it is. I know these are 6, 9. I know these are 7, 8. Because that's B. I need another orange, don't I? No, that was AB. That's the B. That's the A, whatever that is. So this is 6, 9. And therefore this is 2. Let's just make sure that I'm tidying this up correctly and I'm not creating a bit of a mess for myself. This is 7, 8. This is 7, 8. That's giving the 5, 1 that we needed to resolve earlier. That's 5, 1. That forces this to be the 9, the 6 in here. I need a 9 in this box. It can only be in here. That's a 1, 7, 8. I'll think about that in a moment, but we've got a 1, 7, 8 triplet. That's a 5. I know what these are now. This is 1, 2, and 4 to complete the box. That's 7, that's 1. It's now picking up pace. It's coming together. I need an 8. And remember, it was A, B, C, D. That's got to be the 8, surely. On this RENBAN line. Yes, it is. Now we've got 9, 8, 7. I need a 6, which has to be this one, and a 2. 5, 4, 3. This is looking correct. That 1 gives me this 8, which gives me this 4, this 2, this 1. That's not 1. That's still a 7, 8. That is resolved, actually. That's a 7. That's a 4. Yeah, that's an 8. And that's an 8. For a second, I just paused there because I thought the Dutch Whisper was connecting the 4 and the 7. I thought I made a mistake, but thankfully that wasn't the case. So we've got a 1, 4 in here. That 4 tells me the order. That's 1, that's 4. Notice there's now a 1 on this RENBAN line. I need 2 and 5 to make this whole series consecutive. That 2 tells me that's the 2, that's the 5. I have A and C, which is 7 and 8. No, excuse me. 7 and 9. That 9 tells me that's the 9, that's the 7. That 2 gives me a 3, a 2, a 1, a 6, a 9. It's all falling apart now. Kind of intense thinking in the beginning to try and get this far, but then it's all coming together very quickly now. Yeah, a bit of work that we still need to do here. Have I resolved these? No. 3 can be on here next to the Dutch Whisper line on 7, and there's nothing resolving them just yet. This is indeed low. This is also, I'm going to use some, I'm actually going to lose these colors for a second, and these, so I can just maybe color this Dutch Whisper line. And I'm doing this with confidence because I've got this 5 that's seeing all of these cells. And because this can't be a 9, this has to be low. And this can be 1, so this could be 5. So this is a kind of 5 high. I'm going with grey as a neutral color, blue for low digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 for, or red for 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe this black crop key dot actually moves me forward. It's not 1, 2, it's not 3, 6. It is from 2, 4, 8. I mean, it is 4, 8, because where else am I going to put the 8? It's not clearly in this low digit cell. So that is 4, 8. That's a 2, that's a 3. What do I need to finish the column? I need a 3, I believe. No, I made an error somewhere. Yeah, I made an error literally here. I don't know why I put 2 when I meant 3. And that's 2. That's 2. Gone. This is a low digit that is not 2 or 4. It is 1 or 3. This is not 6, 8, or 9. That is a 7. To finish the box, I need a 3. This can still be 1 or 3. Fortunately, this can still be a 5. We can probably think about this RENBAN in a second. The fact that we have a 4, 8 in here, this is 6, 9, isn't it? And we're kind of down to very few digits at this point. 6, 9, I can just place the digits here. It is a 7, I believe. Then I have 1, 3, and 4. In fact, that 3 tells me that's the 1, that's a 4. Still can be a 5. I know what this digit is. I believe it's an 8. I've got 2 low digits in here, unless this is a 5 again. And it is not. These are just straight low digits. 1, 4 tells me this is from 2 or 3. This is 3 or 4. This is just 1, 2 in here. I've got 1, 2, 3 triplet. That's the 3. What do I have in here in this row to finish it? Did I just say 1, 2? Excuse me. Come on, Sleuth. Let's just... It's been going extremely well. Let's not break it at this point. Yeah. That's got to be a 1. Can't have a 5 next to an 8 on a Dutch Whisper line. That's a 5. That's still 2, 3. And that's still 2, 3. And then to finish all of this, we need 4 and 7, I believe. And on these 2 lines, what do I need to finish this row? 3 and 5. Well, that answers that question. That has to be the 5. 3 is too close to the 1 on the Dutch Whisper. And I probably needed this, yeah, to be able to get to the higher digits down here on this RENBAN. So that's 3, that's 5. Therefore, that's the 3, that's the 2. This is not 2. In fact, neither of these are 4. That's 1, that's 2. Have I got anything else that I can resolve at this point? Seemingly not. So it's probably just down to this RENBAN line to bring it all home. We have 2, 3, 4, 5. This has to be 6 and 7. Can't be anything else. And that's probably the answer to today's puzzle. Let's just work through that. Make sure I've not made any other errors. And 6. And if I've not made any mistakes, the answer to today's puzzle. What another stunning puzzle, Will. Absolutely stunning. So I'm just sort of reflecting on the key clearly to breaking this puzzle was figuring out the 7, 8 and the 6, 9. And I'm just trying to think, have I made this long-winded by considering that these 1, 5s were possibilities all along, or were they actually fixed? And I'm not really sure I know the answer to that. It's almost like I need to re-watch the video and spot the logic that I may have missed that would have concluded what these are earlier. Because obviously, as soon as you knew, not that I did, by the way, I didn't actually resolve the 1, 5s that way. I actually figured out which one was 9 and 6. Then that forced the 5, 1. But potentially the other way, of course, would have been if I can figure out which one is the 1 and 5. That would have resolved the 6, 9 much earlier than the 7, 8s. But what an absolutely incredible puzzle, Will. You know, the break-in in column 5, kind of the complexities around box 8, the coloring of these cages, it's wonderful. Hope that you guys enjoyed it, well, at least as much as I did, or even half as much. It would be a phenomenal puzzle. And hope that you enjoyed the video as well. I think it's a relatively smooth solve, aside from the occasional mistype. And see you back for the next one. Bye for now.